Good afternoon and welcome back to Inside News. After quite a long break, we were off for 3.5 months, and I have to say it's very nice to be back with Inside News and obviously Shaheel as well. And we're going to be with you throughout the season like we were last year. We're going to make a couple of changes this year, and we're looking forward to those changes. And obviously we are looking forward to the first meeting as well. As you all know, in the beginning of the seasons, it's obviously always tough finding the winners. Some trainers just put in a little bit more work than others do. Some sort of trainers take their time for horses to come on. But I have been down to the training a couple of mornings. I know Shaheel has been as well, so we have been following a couple of horses, and like I said, hopefully we can find you a couple of winners early on, and then obviously throughout the season as well. On Wednesdays as well, we're going to have our Jour de Galop show as well, and well, I'm looking forward to working with you guys and obviously Shaheel throughout the season. Shaheel, welcome back, and do you have a nice break?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I'm very happy to be back. Had a great experience working with you last season. Very happy to continue that association. Hopefully everything goes well this season too.
Okay, well, hopefully we can find a couple of winners for our viewers out there. Let's start off with the first race of the 2019 season. It is a 020 1500, and obviously these 020s are never easy to find winners. And I've noticed in the past sometimes you get these young horses that are probably a little bit better than their rating, and there's only one really that's Big Smoke, and from what I've seen, it looks like he might just need his first outing here in Mauritius. So we're going to have to rely on some of the older horses. Well, when I say older horses that have run already in Mauritius. And the first horse I want to talk about is number 9, Alhamd. I thought it was a cracking run, his last run of the season last year, and I thought maybe, I'm sure his connections would have wanted him to win a race by now. Obviously he probably has been a little bit disappointing, but he's down to 020. Well, he has run in 020 before, but I thought that run from draw 10 last time was a cracking run, and I thought he was a little bit unlucky on that particular day. He's drawn 2. He has dropped, what has he dropped? He's dropped 3 points in the rating as well, so he's got a very comfortable galloping weight of 58 kilos, and I'm a big fan of Alhamd in the first race. I don't know, Shaheel, what do you think of Alhamd?
He's actually my second choice in this race. Like you said, he's shown some promise last season at the end of this campaign. He's put in some good work in the morning. Also, I've seen him at track work. Let's not forget, he's got a good pedigree. He's the Snitzel. He's by Snitzel, so probably his second season out here, I think, so it could improve a bit. My first choice actually is Jetpath. I was very impressed with that run on International Jockeys Day. Brandon Lee picked up the ride that day, and I remember after the race he told me that the horse was a bit scared to go through a gap, and probably that cost him the race. I mean, when you look at the winning margin, it was only half a length behind Mr. Hardy. So Jetpath, he's not had a tough season. He had only 6 runs in Mauritius, so he still has scope for improvement. He's the only concern probably barrier 9. Then again, he was drawn barrier 9 for the International Jockeys Day. Jetpath would be my first choice.
Okay, yeah, I've also written here Jetpath. Yeah, working well. He looks fit, and probably like Alhamd as well. Taking a little bit of time to find that first winner, but I think that also, I do agree with Shaheel. I think he's got a big chance as well. Valorin, well, he's also probably one of the, I wouldn't say the unluckiest, but 27 runs in Mauritius, 17 places, and I'm sure he's another horse that the connections would have won by now. Well, I reckon anyone that knows their Mauritian racing thought that probably Valorin would have won by now, but he's down to 020. Hard to believe that a horse like Valorin is rated only 16. What did he drop? He dropped 4 points in the off season. I think he must be a big runner as well. I know he has been working very well, this horse. I spotted him last week when he worked, I think it was with Cassius King, if I'm not mistaken. There was a very good workout, and if Valorin's ever going to pick up a win, I suppose in this sort of race he must have a big chance. Any thoughts on Valorin, Shaheel?
Yeah, actually he's my third choice too. Listen, like you said, he was very consistent in the 020. He's drawn barrier 5 prior show, has been riding him. He'll be my third choice, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we're similar, sort of on a similar path here. I like Alhamd to win. That's number 9 to beat Jetpath and Valorin. I'm expecting a big run from Valorin as well, and hopefully that gets you off to a good start. Your trifecta, Shaheel?
It's the same one, just in a different order. I'll go with Jetpath to beat Alhamd and Valorin.
Okay, great. Well, that's the first race. Let's move over to the second race. Probably a tough race this over the 990. There are 1 or 2 horses that do like the trip, and then obviously a horse like Captain, my captain, top racehorse, but probably the 990 could be a bit short
for him. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I mean, I remember if we go back to the 30th of September last year, he ran in a 1,000 meter, well, a 990, I beg your pardon, and Brandon Louis rode him that day, and he was sort of hopelessly outpaced. He did run on a little bit, but he still got beat 10.5 lengths, and obviously this is not the distance that he's ideally suited to.
Right. And I remember even when he won with Robbie, he does take some time to get going.
Yes.
To his stride, so the 990, not the ideal distance for him.
Yep. All right, well, so we agree that probably 990 a bit short for Captain My Captain. I don't know if he, I thought he was sort of like trading near as being favoured.
I think he's favourite at 300 or something.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about the distance of Captain My Captain. I'm going to look elsewhere. Horses that have sort of, popped up in my mind is a horse like Northern Rebel. I thought he was very unlucky on the 24th of November when he ran third, 1.3 lengths behind Maximal, and obviously he is a horse that gets left, and we never know when if he's going to jump or not. But he was slow that day as well. But there was a cracking run behind Maximal. I think he likes the trip. He has got a bad draw of 9, but he comes from off the pace, and I think, well, if he jumps, he has to be a big runner. Northern Rebel, and that was in a 41 where he ran third to Maximal. He drops down to the 36. He's working very well as well. This horse, his work has been very good. In fact, a lot of Jean-Michel's horses look like they're fit and ready, and he's got quite a nice card of runners.
Yeah, he does.
Jean-Michel Henry. I don't know, what's your thoughts on Northern Rebel?
I actually like him too, and I do agree with what you said. He's been working well. It all depends on his break, on how he breaks from the stalls. He does like the trip, because I went back and checked his South African form. He won 1,000 meters by free length there, and funny enough, he led that day. He didn't have that problem back in South Africa. Yes. Listen, the barrier 9, I don't think that will be much of a concern over a 990 trip. Northern Rebel, if he breaks on terms, he'll be a powerful finisher, and he'll be in the money.
Even if he is a length or slow away, I think he can make it up. I think he's good enough to make it up, this horse. I know the trainer of this horse back in South Africa, and he's been very disappointing with this horse. He thought he was going to win a couple of races, but he didn't realize that the horse got into that bad habit of getting left. Like Shaheel said, he went to the front in South Africa, but I think if he's a horse that even if he's slightly slow away, they these 990s, they go quick. I think he's going to be finishing best of all. I'm making him a big runner. One interesting horse I want to talk about is Falkland. He's got some terrific South African form, over 1,000 meters. Yes, he is drawn 10 out of 10, never easy over the 990, but if you have a look at his form, Shaheel, you'll notice that he's got a lot of speed, this horse, and there isn't really a lot of speed in this race. And I think that if this horse jumps from that bad barrier trial and is quick enough to get off to the front, or even a decent position, he's got some cracking South African form, this horse. Absolutely agree with you. Actually, I made him my first value bet of the season. I see he's trading around 800 or 1,000 rupees. Yeah. Like you said, he's very speedy sort. He's ideally made for this 990, I believe. If he's quick enough to cross over the field and lead, it might take a very good horse to catch him. Yeah, I do agree. And also, just to mention, he had a very nice barrier trial last week or during the week. Yes, yeah, he's very impressive there. I was just about to say, Shaheel, his work has been good. His barrier trial was excellent as well, and I'm going to go with you as well as a value bet. I think Falkland at 800 rupees, probably because being the 990 meter race. I don't think there's sort of like any specialist over this distance in the show. I don't think it's the greatest of fields, put it that way. And I think a horse like Falkland, even if he's sort of 80% fit, he could be good enough to beat them. In fact, I think if he had a decent draw, I probably would have made him a very hard horse to beat. So let's keep an eye on Falkland. It is his first run here. Obviously, a lot of horses come to Mauritius, and they're a little bit, they get a little bit of stage fright here, and they don't always perform on first time out here. But obviously, we have seen horses that have come out and done very well in their first start. But Falkland, I like the way he's been working, and he is an unknown factor. Therefore, I'm going to stick with number 8 as my first choice. I think Falkland's going to be my second choice, and then Rahib, obviously he's a 990 meter specialist. Although he did win in 31 when he beat Vision of Trust, but he must have a chance as well. He's got a decent draw. Again, I agree with you. He's my third choice too. He's got a proven form over the 990, and we'll go with that. Okay, so where you lean? How your trifecta? I'll take a chance and go with Falkland to beat Northern Rebel and Rahib. Okay, well, we're both going to agree that Falkland's probably a value bet. I think that if he brings that South African form to the races, that was a great second to that horse Socrates. He's a nice horse. He's gone and won a couple of races after being beaten by Falkland, so that form has stood up. So I think Falkland definitely also we're going to follow. Right. All right, let's move over to race 3. It's a 1450 benchmark 41, and Shaheel, one of my favorite horses from last season, the 3-year-old champion Zodiac Jack. Yes, obviously, just like Northern Rebel, he was getting a little bit slow away towards the end of the season, but I just thought he had a lot of racing, this horse. He had 10 runs in sort of 8 months or 7 months, and or 10 runs, 3 wins and 6 places. We know he was a 3-year-old champion holder, and I really believe that this horse has got lots and lots of class. And another thing I find, especially when I was riding as well, horses that sort of like having a lot of racing, probably getting a little bit sour towards the end of the season. Remember, he's had a nice 3.5 month break now. I think he's going to jump on terms. That's my opinion. I think he's going to jump well, this horse. He's drawn to, he just has to reproduce that form that he showed last year. And I think he'll be a very, very hard horse to beat. In fact, I'm going to make Zodiac Jack my bank of the day.
Okay, Zodiac, like I said, he's our 3-year-old champion of last season. He looks well in the morning. Looks like the break really did him some good thing.
Yep.
Good run expected from him, even with the barrier too. He's on a benchmark of 41, should be handy enough for him. Like you said, if he breaks on term, he's a powerful finisher. He should be right there.
All right, what do you think his dangers are?
Probably number 1 and number 2. I'll put a star. I see he's got a lot of work. He's been working well. He's had a barrier trial too. He's never won till now. 5 starts for 3 places. Probably he could bag a win this season.
Yeah, I suppose he must have a chance, Paulo Star. I thought, I wouldn't say, well, probably a little bit disappointing his last 2 runs. I don't know if well, he did get left his last start, but I think he's a little bit better than what he's shown us, because we did follow this horse last season, and he probably did disappoint us and probably his connections as well. Heart of Darkness, well, this horse runs pretty well in the beginning of the season. He likes to go out in front. I don't really see much challenging him for the lead. Maybe great value with that 1 draw, but Heart of Darkness, he's a gutsy horse. So he runs with heart, and you got to, I suppose, you got to respect his chances as well. So, what about Redline Captain? Redline Captain or his stable companions, Captain Spanish? So, before we get to these 2 horses, I've noticed Shaheel Ayadassen hasn't really been too hard on his horses in the beginning. I see they haven't managed to secure a jockey yet, and well, I must say, I just don't think these horses are 100% fit. I don't know if you agree with me, but from what I've seen in the training, Shaheel Ayadassen's horses just looks like he's taking a little bit of time this season. I
do agree with you, actually. I know we both know that Captain Spandicilli and Redline Captain are horses that will prove further in time. So this could just be a gallop to get them ready for future races.
I agree with you there, Shaheel. All right, let's get back to our trifecta. Where are you going?
Zodiac Jack, Heart of Darkness, and Apollo Star.
Okay, I think I'm going to go Zodiac, all exactly the same. I'm going to go 6, 2, and 1. That's going to be my trifecta for the 3rd race.
So 3 races and 3 same trifecta till now.
Yep.
We're off to a good start.
All right, let's move over to race 4. It's a 1400 meter benchmark 51. I've written on top of my book here, this is quite a tough race. And well, after doing quite a bit of studying, this was Bad Attitude. He's a decent horse, and you have to respect him. There was a great run in the International Day last time when he ran 2nd to Ice Run. He's proven himself in 51, and I thought he was a little bit unlucky on the International Day as well. He's above average horses, and he's drawn 2, and I think that Bad Attitude is going to take quite a lot of beating in this field, but I don't think it's that cut and dry, because there's quite a lot of hard knockers here, and I have to say that Rameshwar Gujadhur's horses are working very, very well, and especially this horse Rock on Geordies. He's really been putting out some terrific track work, and there was a great win when he beat Ranjani. I don't know if you agree with me on that, Shaheel, but I really like the look of Rock on Geordies as well.
Actually, just to go back to Bad Attitude, I remember that day on International Day, he couldn't break that well that day from barrier. When I talked to Shamie Heffernan after that race, he told me he was very disappointed, but also very happy with the ground that the horse made. It was completely wide on the turn. He was hanging, but still managed to finish 2nd behind Ice Run. So this is a horse that has a nice future this season. He's been working well. I've been to track work on Tuesday. I saw him. He looks very well. I do believe he's in with a big chance. Like you said, Rock on Geordies, he's been very impressive last season, but do you think his handicap is catching up to him now?
Yeah, well, you know, obviously, I really believe that if handicaps are done correctly, which in Mauritius they've got a very good system, and I think that if a horse is rated 45, well, he has to be, put it this way, he's on the up, he's not going down.
Yeah,
so, and I really believe that Rock on Geordies, purely on track work, is a big runner in this particular race. Remember that was Mumbo Rock's in this field as well, and he is 2.5 kilograms better off with Mumbo Rock for that 2-length beating. But once again, you can't ignore Mumbo Rock. Obviously, he's a decent horse. He's won he won 5 races last year, and I know Robbie Fred thought quite a lot of this horse. And but once again, probably not 100% fit Mamba Rock.
Actually, I did see him on Tuesday morning. He's one of the best horses out of the Russet stable at the moment, actually.
Yes, I agree with you. Probably the fittest out of all of them. And he's also runs pretty well fresh as well.
He does.
So you can't ignore him. Unfortunately, he has got a bit of a draw to deal with as well. But I think at the end of the day, this is quite a tough race. And I mean, even also like Friend Request, who's another horse that's probably, well, he was full of problems last year. He bled and he was also reported to be lame as well. And I think the break is going to do him a world of good. I think the sting's going to be out the ground as well. We've obviously had quite a lot of rain leading up to this, and the track's in excellent condition. I have to say well done to the MTC. The track's in perfect condition, and you can't write off the chances of Friend Request, because on his day, he's a decent horse, and if he comes to the races sound, he must be a big runner as well.
Right, and he does run well fresh. I do remember he won his first start on his debut last season with the American jockey Jimmy Terrier. He's drawn the idle in by a referee. Like you said, there will be a cut in the ground. I just hope that the cyclone stays away, though. There's a cyclone coming, but yeah, just to go back to my trifecta, I'll go with Bad Attitude to beat Friend Request and third Mamba Rock.
Okay, great. I'm gonna throw Rock on Geordie's in there. I've been pretty impressed with his work. He's also at quite generous odds, so just keep an eye on Rock on Geordie's. I definitely think that there's a little bit of value as far as he's concerned.
Just to touch on number 8, actually, you did like him last year, Virtue. He's a horse that will do well this season, probably not for his first run, but one for the season. Yeah,
unfortunately, he's got a bit of a bad draw to deal with. He's up to 51 as well, but I think he's another horse that's going to be worthwhile following. I wouldn't be surprised if he is on our 2 to follow next week. He's a nice horse. He ran against some top company in South Africa, but I just think maybe his first run up, drawn 9, up in 51, could be a little bit tough for him. But it is a very open race. In fact, I think it is the most open race on the card. Right, well, that's the 4th race. Let's move over to the 5th race, the Visa Consulting Limited Trophy. It is a 1400 benchmark 61. Nice races, 9 runners. Another race where a couple of horses have got quite decent chances. After studying them, I'm going to make my first choice. Has to be probably, I know it's probably a little bit sharp for him, Rapid Attack, but I was very I was very happy with the way that he finished off the season last year, and well, it took him forever to win. I wouldn't say forever, but it took him quite a long time to pick up his first win. But when he did, well, he came out and won again, and I think, Shaheel, I have told you, I honestly believe that horses, once they get that sort of first win, they gain a bit of confidence, and I think Rapid Attack, obviously the distance is going to be a little bit on the short side for him, but these sort of good horses, you know, their stamina and their class brings them through towards the finish, and I think Rapid Attack must have a big chance in this race.
Like you said, probably the distance a bit on the short side for him, but that win on International Day was really impressive. Shaheel Ayadassen gets the ride. He's won on him before, so that's an advantage. I'll actually go with Jolly Roger. This horse, I noticed that he runs very well in this early part of the season. He won his first 2 in 2018. I've seen him at track work too. He's looking very well in Manchester. Rode him on Tuesday. He's drawn barrier free. Doesn't have to lead, probably could follow handy, so he must have a perfect race. I'll make him my first choice. Roger.
Well, interesting that Rajuruwan's riding Ice Run. I've noticed there's been a lot of betting support for Ice Run, so let's keep an eye on that. And then obviously Aware, I thought he was very well ridden by Tristan Godden last year. They rode him correctly. They gave him a bit of a chance, and I think that's the way he likes to be ridden, Aware. And well, he's a top horse on his day, and he's going to enjoy the speed. And I think that he must have a chance as well. My trifecta, I think, is pretty clear. I'm going to go. Well, it's quite tough between 7 and 8. Rapid Attack and Jolly Roger. If I have to stick my neck out, I just like the way that Rapid Attack won on that International Day. He went from last to first in a couple of strides, and he really showed that he's a decent horse. And then Jolly Roger, like you said, been working very well. I think he won the first meeting last year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's right. On the 31st of March, he came out and won on the first meeting, and he beat Robert's Jewel, which
one of your favorite.
Exactly, yeah. So he's also does well early on, so we got to respect him. And then I'm expecting a good run from Aware as well.
I've got the same trifecta, but I'll go with Jolly Roger first to beat Aware and Rapid Attack.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's move over to the
first classic.
Well, the first classic of the season. It is the Duchess. Nice to see the Duchess moved back to its well, its original ways. I remember when I used to come around here many years ago, the Duchess was always on the first meeting, and I think I'm very happy to see it back on the well, the first meeting of the season. Although this year there is a bit of a change. It's a weight for age, which was first time the Duchess will ever be running as a weight for age, and obviously the higher rated horses, that's going to suit them a lot better than it has in the past. And well, there's some classy horses in this race from South Africa, and I've studied quite a bit of South African form coming into this race, and I have to say it's going to be a very, very exciting race, and tough to pick a winner outright. But anyone between 1, 2, 3 and 4, these horses are classy horses, and I would imagine they would still be winning their races back in South Africa. Well done to the connections for putting down the money and buying horses of this sort of caliber. Shaheel, what do you like in the Duchess?
Obviously, number 4, White River. I was very surprised to see this horse come to Mauritius. I've been following him in South Africa too. Probably the classiest horse in the field. I remember that second to Tapanov in the Cape Guineas, he flew home that day from last to second.
Yep.
I noticed on his barrier trial, Yashin Mamdi gave him a couple of smack on his shoulder. I don't know if he'll appreciate the short straight of the Sean and Mars. What do you think? Would that be a problem for him?
You know, I spoke when I was in South Africa and I saw White River coming. I spoke to Corne Alpha, and Corne Alpha says, he said, don't have a look. He is a good worker, but he can be quite a lazy horse at the track in the mornings as well. So I wouldn't look too much into that. Just have a look at his form, Shaheel. It's like you said, great runs behind that was Do It Again, which I thought was very, very unlucky not to win the Met. And Tapper North, Eyes Wide Open. These are top horses. And yeah, it's hard to believe he's only a 2-time winner. But then again, he did run in a lot of feature races. So and you would imagine that the July handicap, his last run in South Africa, was a touch too far for him. Yeah. And he was drawn 12 out of 18 that day as well. I think we can sort of ignore that. I see cast a shoe as well, but he was obviously his connections thought he was good enough to run him in the July handicap as a 2-time winner. So he oozes class, and I just love the way that this horse has been working in the mornings. He really has caught my eye on a couple of occasions, and I'm going to make him my first choice, White River, especially the fact that it is level weights, 58 kilos. He must be a big runner. Derek David gets the ride as well, so that's nice for Derek. Let's hope that he could maybe, I don't know, has he won a classic? I don't think he has. It would be nice for him to pick up a classic winner.
Yeah, right. I do agree with you. White River to be my first choice. His South African form just oozes class, and he's also a smashing looking individual.
Beautiful looking horse.
Yeah.
Another beautiful looking horse is Perovskia from the Ricky Maingard stable, trained by a very good friend of mine back in South Africa, and I know she was sort of heartbroken when they sold this horse, because she really rated this horse. She took him up to Durban, and he won the Drill All Stakes, and was very, very nice, because it comes from a very small stable back in Cape Town, and very, very nice. And like I said, she was very sad to see Perovskia leave. She reckons one of the best horses she's trained, and well, another horse that's got some very, very impressive South African form. Obviously rated the highest, well, joint highest in the race, and the weight for age is obviously going to suit him as well.
Absolutely, he's a classy horse. Like you said, he's got those feature races in Durban. I've just noticed that in his barrier trial, he looks to be just lacking one run. I'm not sure you'll agree with me on that. I just think that the likes of Nebuda and White River are just one step ahead of him in terms of preparation.
Yes, it seemed like that in the training. It looked like Nebula and White River. It looks like they've had a little bit more work than Perovskia. And we all know Ricky Maingard, he sort of doesn't really put a lot of pressures on his new horses, but he's a classy horse, and maybe his class will come through, and especially over the 1400, he's ideally suited to the distance, Perovskia, and he must have a big chance. Woljarine, another horse that's been putting up some terrific work, another horse has got some terrific South African form as well, joint highest rated horse in the race, has to have a chance. Cedric Sejon looking for, I think it is his 4th Duchess. I think he's won 3 already. Or?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it says on the front page. Yeah, he's looking for his 4th Duchess winner. So Cedric Sejon's had quite a lot of luck in this Duchess. And if you are superstitious, maybe Woljarine. But getting back to the horse, he is a decent horse, and he must have a big chance. Let's touch on the youngster. Well, when I say the youngster, the 3-year-old, Play Another Tune, rated 25. But if you go back to South Africa, he was rated 102. Yeah. So obviously, because of the conditions, bought as a 2-year-old, he's coming to this race as a rating 25. Obviously, he's going to be quite bad off, well, under sufferance. Although he is carrying 3 kilos left because of the weight for age. But that run behind Socrate was a cracking run. Socrate won the Guineas, and then he went and ran 2nd in the Queen's Plate. So there's cracking form. I just feel that maybe he's not going to be strong enough and sort of mature enough to take on horses that have won six races back in South Africa.
Actually, I do like this horse a lot. He's been working really well, even if he's a bit keen in the race, very green also, but like you said, his South African form is very cracking form. You can't ignore him, and even in this 0.25 class, he'll be just too good for them. You've talked about Soccer, I'll talk a bit about Bahrain. Bahrain is also a very good horse on the Mike Decor cards.
100%, yeah.
He was the first choice for the Cape Derby this coming weekend, but unfortunately he suffered a major setback, so how I'm going to replace him. But just to go back to Playano de Tium, the new cleat on the block, I won't leave him out of any of my exotics.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to, he's definitely got a, you know, with that 55 kilos drawn too, he's a classy horse, and I just don't think he's going to win it. I just don't think he's sort of, from what I've seen, he's a beautiful horse. I just don't know if he's mature enough to take on the older horses at weight for age. Obviously, if it was a handicap, well, he'd be carrying about 30 kilos. Yeah. But, you know, that's the benefits of buying 2-year-old horses. Yes. They come here with these lower rating horse, merit ratings. He's obviously a lot better than his rating of 25, because he was rated 102 in South Africa. But I think that the Gujadhur stable are going to have a lot of fun with this horse, play another tune. If he doesn't win the Duchess, he's definitely going to win a couple of races here in Mauritius.
We haven't talked about number 3 actually, Nebula. He's probably one of the best prep horse for this race. He looks ready to kill this horse.
Yeah, his barrier trial as well was very good.
Very impressive, yeah.
At the end of the day, I suppose we're both leaning towards White River.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with me, Shaheel, but from what I've seen in the training, he just looks like he's the most prepared horse, and then that form in South Africa is solid. So I'm going to go with White River. My second choice will be Perovskaya and Woljarin as well. I've got a lot of respect for him.
So this time we got a different trifecta. I'll go with White River too, but to beat his stable companion Nebula, and for third I'll go with the Playano de Tium.
Youngster. Yeah. All right. Okay. Perfect. Well, that's the Duchess. It looks like it's going to be a very exciting race, and I'm looking forward to watching that race unfold. 7th race, 1450, benchmark 31. Another tough race, Shaheel. Well, I suppose you have to respect Rajam Din's horse, Bonjo Baby. He's done a lot more, well, a lot better than I actually originally thought, purely on his sort of South African form. You know, his South African form never really, well, it wasn't great. And but this horse has just sort of really developed into a beautiful horse. And I know when Robbie Fred got off him on International Day, he was very impressed with this horse, and he thought that this horse is going to go on and win a good couple of races here in Mauritius. Remember, he won by over 3 lengths on International Day. You don't get penalised on International Day, so you know, that easy win. He walks in here without a penalty, so you have to respect him. And once again, another horse that has really caught my eye in the training.
Right. Actually, I tipped him on International Day when we were doing the show with Robbie at Ravna Altitude. He won. I expected him to win, but not that easily. I see he's kept his good form. Jano Bardite gets the ride. I'm sure he'll be hungry for wins. Just a bad draw is a bit of a concern for him, because he likes to follow a bit handy. Yeah. We just don't know how Jano's going to place him in the race, but he should be good enough to take on this kind of field.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I know there's been a lot of talk about number 4, Phoenix Rising, been putting up a lot of good work, which he has. But I just think Bonjo Baby's is a classy horse than him. There's one horse I want to talk about. It's this horse Misty Roller. I think he's also been a bit disappointing. He's had the 8 runs for the 2 places, but he ran a very good race in that 4-year-old championship last year. Yes, it was a handicap, and he came in with 52, but that was a cracking run. And I thought he was very unlucky on International Day as well, when he ran 3rd to Chester's Wish. He was full of excuses, and I think he could have probably pulled that race off had he had a little bit more luck. Unfortunately, he is drawn 9, but he's also can come from off the pace, although his best runs have sort of been when he's placed him up there. So well, when I say drawn 9, obviously the emergence acceptor is going to come out, so he's drawn 8 now, but this could be Carl Zechner's best ride on the day.
Yeah, probably. He didn't pull the race off that day, but he did pull a shoe on the International Jockey's Day. Like I said, barrier 9, we don't know how Carl's going to place him, and also his first meeting. Let's see how much time it takes to adapt to the track. Very tricky track, as we know. Mr. Roll, I'll keep him for my quartet. I'll do like Winter's Calling, actually. This horse was running in a benchmark of 61 last season. He's dropped down to a benchmark of 31. I've seen him working on Tuesday morning. He's looking very well, this horse. I don't know how he's going to run this season. Probably the break made him a better horse. I'll try to go with Winter's Coming in my trifecta.
Okay, great. Just getting back to Carl Zechner, I can tell you he's a very capable young rider. Well, when I say, well, he must be about 30 now, but he's a decent rider, and I remember he used to ride that horse Abashiri, and
he won the Triple Crown, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's, yeah, that's right. He won the Triple Crown on Abashiri. I honestly believe that Misty Roller has got a big chance in this race. So that's it with the trifecta. Where are you going?
Actually, I also like Cape Horn for my third choice. If he can overcome that barrier 11 in a benchmark of 31, he should be competitive. So just to recap, Bonjour Baby, Winter's Coming, and Cape Horn. Okay,
I'm going to chuck Phoenix Rising in there because he has been working well, and you know, those were two sort of decent runs towards the end of last season, so I'm going to respect him a little bit. Right, then the 8th race, the Lucky Loss. It's a 1400 meter rating 0.25, and obviously you have to, well, I mean, that was a very impressive debut by Good Buddy last year. I remember we sat with Robbie Frad and we didn't give him much chance, purely on...
You did, I did.
Yeah,
I gave him my value bet.
That's right, myself and Robbie didn't give him a chance, but you did, well done. Yeah, that was a very impressive debut by Good Buddy, and I can tell you that this horse looks like he's grown another leg. He's really matured, and he's really done well in the off-season, and he's drawn 2, Cedric Sejon. He's got some decent rides on Saturday. I think it's probably worthwhile following Cedric throughout the day. He's got some very nice rides, and like I said, this horse has just matured, and he's really blossomed into quite a nice horse. He's a winner without a penalty, just like Bonjour Baby, because obviously International Day he never got any sort of penalty on his rating. He's back in 0.25, and I think he's going to be a tough nut to crack.
I do agree with you. I think this is the perfect race for him to start the season with. Like you said, his skip is good for him. He doesn't have a penalty to carry. He's drawn in barrier 2. He's not the biggest of horses. His weight's around 430 kilos, and like Robbie was saying to us, it's not very easy for a little horse from an inside draw to go on a win on his debut. But he did, and like you said, the break did him well. He's a much more mature horse this season. I'm actually going to make him my banker.
Okay. Alright, so we both got Cedric Sejon as bankers, Zodiac Jack and Good Buddy. I do agree with you. To me, it looks like he could be another banker on the afternoon. What do you think his dangers are going to come from?
Actually, number 2, Dante's Rock. He was finishing like a bullet on International Day, was it? Yeah, he finished second to Xantus. Xantus was a runaway winner that day, but he was finishing off very strongly. He's got a bad road to contend with, but then again, he's a finisher, so let's just hope that he doesn't face any traffic problem when turning in for home. I'm sure he'll come at them at the end. Yeah,
I've got that written down exactly the same, Shaheel. I don't think the break's going to be too much of a concern. He does come from off the pace, and he's another horse that has matured over the off-season. Mambo, another horse, probably a little bit short for him, but I mean, he ran second in a 1400 before. That was in a benchmark 31. He has he's dropped 5 points in the rating, and I think Mambo's probably a little bit better than what he's shown us. I definitely think that he's a big runner in the 8th run or the 8th race as well. My trifecta, I'm going Good Buddy, Dante's Rock, Mambo. Anyone else? Any other horse you want to talk about?
Yeah, actually number 10, Anton Ruskin. He's been so consistent in those 0.25 last season. He's finished second to Good Buddy. I can't see him reverse that form, so I'll go with him for third. So I'll go with Good Buddy to beat Dante's Rock and Anton Ruskin.
Okay, well, great. So thanks, Shaheel. Well, that's a wrap for us. That's the 8 races. Just to recap, our value bet, we both agreed that was Falkland. My banker is going to be Zodiac Jack. Shaheel's banker is going to be Good Buddy. Let's hope those 3 horses do well for you, and let's hope you have a great day. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll catch up with you on Wednesday, where we will talk about this race meeting, and obviously we will be back next week Friday for another episode of On Your Mark. Thanks very much for joining us. Catch up with you next week. Goodbye.